Now we're between services, we've just finished one service, we're getting ready for another, and I just managed to find the space to talk to one of our chaplains. And I've managed to find the space to talk to Jo Garratt, who's worked with us for some time, and I think you'll enjoy our conversation. Good to talk to you, Jo.
Thank you.
You've worked at Wesley Mission for a number of years, though, not just as a chaplain. What were you doing first of all?
When I first came across to Wesley Mission, I actually was working in our Wesley Dalmar as a case manager, working with children and that kind of a thing. And it was amazing. It actually gave me a love for the mission, which has actually led me into the role that I'm doing.
When I ask our chaplains what they do, we're invariably having to change the ground because the work changed. What's the areas of work that you cover?
The main areas that I cover are anything to do with families. Pretty much anything related to children, families, young people is my patch.
Now, obviously, it's all confidential, but what's a day like for you?
Every day can look very different. Like you can have a day plan where you plan to do a team meeting or something, but you might get a phone call where maybe a staff member has just lost a loved one, or maybe a carer is going through a tough time. So pretty much my role is working with the staff, with the managers to where they need me on that particular day. So, you know, a typical day could be starting off with a team meeting where I bring a devotion to the staff. Then I may end up going out to a carer's home and spending some time there. Then I may end up catching one-on-one with the staff member. Or another thing could be just sitting in an office with staff, having morning tea with them, lunchtime with them, whatever that looks like.
You find it exciting, interesting, challenging?
I think all three of those. I think exciting because it's pioneering ground that's not always done in a lot of organisations. Challenging because you can sit with very vulnerable, broken people and you get to hear stories of people's inner worlds and they trust you. So that can be challenging sometimes to walk alongside them without carrying that home yourself. And it's exciting because every day is fresh and new and I wake up each day and I have my devotional myself or spend time praying in God's word. I'm like, God, use me today, whatever that looks like.
Jo, you're involved in what we call chaplaincy work, so that's very much part of pastoring, ministering. But it's not the regular kind of ministering that people think of. Many people who join us on the programme will think of their local church and their minister. What is the difference between that and a chaplain?
I think the difference is you don't have one set of people that you're working with day in, day out. And if you're in a congregation, you've got set people that come each Sunday, each weekend service and spend time with you, get to input into them. Whereas the chaplaincy role, I've got hundreds of people I work with and it looks very different. I don't preach to them every day. I might sit alongside, I might pray with someone, or I may be with someone that doesn't have a faith and I'm a listening ear to them. So I guess the difference between, say, a full-time pastoral role with a local church versus a chaplain is you need to build people's trust big time to open up to you. And you can't necessarily be praying for every single person that you meet. You very much are guided by the person.
Look, you mentioned listening and we also talk. So what's the balance between the two? Because I think it's one of the great secrets, isn't it, of effective pastoral care and pastoring.
I think the difference is you've got to treat every person as an individual. And I think sometimes people just need to talk and share with you and you actually just need to listen. And just a simple you stopping and spending time with someone can make a really big impact on them and a really big difference to them. And sometimes they don't want you to talk. Sometimes people actually just need to be that confidential listening ear. And so I think every person I encounter is different. Every person is different. Every meeting I have, every one-on-one is different. And it's based on where that person's at and where they want me to, I guess, sit with them in that place.
Jo, as we've talked before, I think it's difficult to talk about these things because they're personal, they're confidential. Give us a couple of examples, without telling us where they are, of the kind of difference a chaplain can make.
You know, there's been situations where I know one staff member had a child who was very, very unwell. And I was actually able to sit with that staff member in the hospital with them, spend time with them, organise meals for them, that kind of thing, practical help, which made a really big difference to them. Even our out-of-home care sometimes with you know, carers have been going through a tough time and the chaplain just gone, spend time with them, just sit with them, care for them, that kind of a thing. So it has a big impact and I'm finding the longer I'm in the role, the greater the effect I can have because people get to know us. So I think it's really important for a chaplain not just to be a name, but actually someone that people know and feel they can trust. So I think the more I do this role, the greater opportunities I have to sit alongside people, because I'm not a stranger anymore.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be difficult. Let's kind of have that honesty element of it too, because all ministry is not, if we only had a little book of answers that we could just get out, sometimes it can be difficult, can't it?
Definitely difficult, and sometimes I don't have the answer, and I'm actually okay to say that to someone. I might go, look, I actually don't know what to say other than be a listening ear to you, other than to say I care about you, let me pray for you. And I think it's okay to say we don't know. And I think it's okay to walk away from situations just going, I'm not sure, and try and find out the best way we can help without breaking confidentiality.
And how important is your own, you mentioned your own devotion, and I do want to make some comment about that. How important is your own devotion to the work that you do?
I think it's absolutely critical. I think the work that I do and that chaplains do is very much giving of yourself continually. So you're pouring out continually. So I know for me, spending that time every day, reading the Bible, praying, spending time with Jesus, what actually fills me up to then be able to give out to other people. Without that, I think you'd be running on empty all the time. So it's critical, really important to do that every day.
Jo, it's been good to have you on the team. We look forward to many more years of you serving with us and the contribution that you make. I hope that's given you at home an insight into the kind of work that chaplains do. We have a very varied chaplaincy team, but all united together in Christ.